Next into the tank, we have the group from the Northwest region of the state, which encompasses Farmington, Gallup, and Grants. The Northwest region includes New Mexico's Navajo Nation, Chaco culture, and the Bisque Wilderness. But that is not all. We hear much more from the Northwest. Here they are.
Marketing manager for the city of Gallup. This is my colleague, Bill Lee. He is the head of the Gallup-McKinley County Chamber of Commerce. Being in New Mexico, we are all familiar with Native American history, art, and culture. But there are two things that I want to share with you today. Number one, on the international scale, over 80% of Native American art sold is coming from the Northwest New Mexico region. Number two, Native American art has changed. It has evolved, and it has become one of the hottest trends among today's millennials. We are here today to feature a tour for you that is expressing how millennials can experience something tangible in the Northwest New Mexico region. Our artists in our region are taking ancient traditions showing history and culture and marrying them with cutting-edge design. The future of Native American art is now. Ancient art for tomorrow's artists. Now, research shows that millennials are looking for a sense of identity, and they're doing it through the product consumption experiences that they're looking for. They want something to identify with the earth from which they come. What we have seen, though, is they're not familiar with manufacturing, where things come, A, B, C, and how it ends up. Instead, they're from an Amazon.com world where everything is smooth, slick, and quick. Take a look at these examples of smooth, slick, and quick Native American knockoffs from Forever 21, Walmart, Target, Macy's, and more.
While many are quick to buy these knockoffs, what we're seeing in Northwest New Mexico and what our research suggests is an increase in tourists, especially millennials, who are willing to pay for the red carpet experience, provided it's authentic. They want to see, touch, buy authentic Native American art that connects them with the artist and the land from which it came. Northwest New Mexico is the destination meeting this trend for today's travelers by melding together a genuine involvement with the Native American people and the thousands of years of artistry that our region provides. At the end of their journey, these travelers want to come away with a cherished reminder of the heartfelt memories they've made. But Sharks, don't just take it from this old guy about today's travelers. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Emerald Tanner, a fifth-generation Indian trader, a millennial. She's from Tanner Indian Art, and she has a tailor-made opportunity that turns a vacation into a lifetime experience through immersion into culture, tradition, and art. Emerald.
No, sir. My family has worked for and with the Native American craftsmen for 5 generations in county. The tour that we want you to experience, called Southwest Indian Art: The Next Generation, captures the evolution of Native American tradition. Judith, I know you hate the word products, but I agree with them. Millennials are in dire search of both products and experiences that are exclusive to our region in Northwest New Mexico. Art is no longer something that's static and purely decorative. It provides an experience that takes them back to something they've been around. We take you to different various areas in our Northwest New Mexico region: Tuatalina, Two Gray Hills, Zuni Pueblo, various different areas around Gallup, and we're invited into these artists' homes. They do demonstrations, they feed you. It's such a personal one-on-one experience that you can't get when you buy a piece of jewelry from a gallery or a museum. Think about the 25-year-old artist that you'll see that's outside of the Zuni Pueblo carving. Marissa, I know family's very important to you. You can meet the 80-year-old weaver teaching her granddaughter, a 4th generation, how to spin wool that's garnered from sheep their families have raised themselves. You can go to Gallup, New Mexico and meet artist Aaron Anderson and feel the fire of molten silver being poured before your eyes into a one-of-a-kind bracelet. He utilizes a traditional technique that's ancient, and he made this a few days ago. It's trendy. I can't take it off my wrist. It's something that you want to experience with your friends and share over and over. Now, you can come to New Mexico, our region in Northwest New Mexico, and we won't roll out the red carpet. We'll do you one better, and we'll have a handmade Navajo rug waiting for you. This tour that we do also lets you experience heartfelt philanthropy. If you buy these pieces from these artists, you're fostering a cottage industry that sustained these families for generations. That's one of our local artists, Daryl Dean Begay, again utilizing this traditional tufa technique. He does this in front of you. So I want to leave you sharks with this. This is a bracelet originally made by deceased Navajo artist Kijo Benali. It's finished nearly 50 years later, utilizing a contemporary lapidary technique with domestic American turquoise, ancient art and tomorrow's artists, and art you can wear. Come and visit us.
Sharks,
Okay.
we would like to leave you with a gift now and some information about both this tour and our region. And we would like to open it up to any questions from you about Emerald's tour and the Northwest New Mexico.
Great, guys, can I kind of flush out one thing before these guys comment
Sure.
and maybe give them another avenue? Are you prepared to talk about, and can you show us maybe some of the differences? We talk about cheap knockoffs. That's been a story that's been gaining momentum across the state. Are you guys prepared to kind of step up and say, look, we do it right, here's what we don't like with what we see, and we want to make the point that we're the original?
Yes, absolutely. All I have to say is Zuni Philippines.
Okay.
We have
Yeah.
an immense issue with our culture that we have thousands of artists in our region alone because we are surrounded on all sides, Navajo, Zuni, Apache, Hopi, Laguna Acoma, and every single aspect of those cultures are being appropriated and made in plastic or knockoff silver, nickel, things like that. And one of the things, I say Zuni Philippines because one of the things that Zuni experiences himself is they actually named a section of an island Zuni so that they could stamp it and say, this is real from Zuni.
Wow.
And so what we combat and what we're trying to teach a millennial generation, I myself am a millennial, is that millennials are willing to wait half an hour for a beer in a brew pub for that authentic, real experience. And this jewelry and this region is no different. And that's really the message we're trying to say. And we're prepared to approach. And in our region, we have lots of examples of knockoff versus the real deal.
And Mark, to that end, that's what makes this tour so important, Sharks, is we're not just taking you to a store to tour and buy jewelry there, although there are lots of opportunities to do that and buy the authentic thing. This gets you into the home and to the workplace of the artist so that the artist delivers that piece, just like Emerald said, he made that piece in 45 minutes and then she put it on her wrist. You know it's the real deal.
Okay, so Dean, you want to start?
Yeah, I have a question. I love the story. My question, just for clarity, are you pitching a tour? So what's the story that you're pitching?
The story is we're pitching a tour about an organic experience for the millennial generation so they can see what the real deal is.
Has this taken off with millennials, or are you saying it's perfectly suited for millennials and you're hoping to attract millennials?
Emerald, you could speak to that.
A little bit of both. The problems with these tours, and to answer your first question, of course, we're pitching our region in Northwest New Mexico utilizing the vehicle of the tour because it takes you across all these different regions. Millennials are attracted to an experience like this, but they work. They're in the workforce still, and these tours oftentimes are 4, 5, 6 days long. They can't get off work. So what we're wanting to do is, of course, provide a tour that is, takes you across this region, but also try to figure out how to streamline it and condense it into a trip that a young professional can take a Friday, Saturday, Sunday and experience.
Okay, thank you.
I love this. And I think what you're offering speaks right to the heart of KOB's key demographic, which is women between the ages of 25 and 49. And so what I would like to offer is to have one of our female anchors come and take the tour with you. What I am asking is for an exclusive story.
Yes.
We would promote the story.
Yeah, come on up.
And you would have one of our top tier anchors reporting the story. And so I'll leave that offer on the table. I think this is really great, and I think Mark is right. There's been a lot of stories done in our market about fake jewelry. And I think this is a great way to really stand for New Mexico.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice tie-in. Well done. Okay, anybody else? We're going to kind of try to keep moving here.
You hit on some beautiful themes in this, and very much at the heart of New Mexico Magazine. If we were to follow up on some segment or all of what you were pitching, we'd be looking at publication maybe a year from now. Maybe it'd be something we'd want to tie with the Gallup ceremonial, or with Indian Market. So if his exclusive is going to happen pretty quickly, I'm still happy with talking with you about opportunities in the future.
Well, now we're into the exclusive territory. So let's go, guppies. Okay, just a question quickly. Do you have any statistics about the millennial market and how they're more interested in this, or is this just a general feeling you guys have?
We have a lot of statistics at home, but when you're under the gun in front of you, it's a little nerve-wracking to be sincere. There's been a tremendous amount of market research done about what millennials want, and that's a lot of where we came up with this idea was people from your outlets putting out a lot of content about the millennial experience and how, millennials get a bad rap, to be honest. And what I appreciate about being a millennial is that authenticity thing. And they're saying, a 5-table restaurant, millennials will wait an hour for a booth. And there's a lot of that consistent reporting on that.
Okay.
And they're 41% of the workforce today. So they are developing that expendable income to go and take these kinds of tours.
Okay, if you can provide statistics, one of the places I write for is Racked.com. 3 million viewers. You get a huge audience. It's about shopping.
Oh, okay.
It's all about shopping. So if these two sharks don't bite each other here, I would be very interested in that if you can get statistics to back up what you're saying.
We have them.
We have those. Thank you.
I think that it's beautiful and stunning, and I love the idea of actually being able to watch some of these artists create something. I think it would be amazing to really highlight the culture in that way, and I appreciate that tremendously. My concern would be for millennials and knowing that the real thing comes at a big cost. And that is tough for millennials to be able to afford something that stunning or that gorgeous. So unless there was some way to say, when you do this, you will be able to walk away with, I think it's sort of that you have to make sure, could somebody afford that? It is beautiful and worth it, but I don't think that the majority of the people or women, they want that experience, but they're not able to afford it. In particular, in this state, it's very tough. So unfortunately, I would pass on it, but I would be very supportive in trying to encourage anybody watching the experience or doing something where they could show it, hey, this happened, and that sort of thing.
They can watch on KOB.
Rebecca?
I do think that I agree with Marissa on this. I think it sounds amazing. I'm a millennial myself, but when I do stuff like this, I'm with my mom, and I look at my mom and I say, Mom, can you help me out with this? Because it's not something that, I think it's cool and it's interesting to learn where it comes from and the story behind it and what's happening, but I want to take something back with me. And if it's not something that I can afford and feel comfortable purchasing so that I could tell others about it, it's not something that I think would appeal to myself and our viewers, because like Marissa said, in this state, we're not, we don't have the highest income rate. And it's a cool learning experience. I think it's great to maybe take a family on and teach them something, but if they're not walking away with anything, then I think that's what makes it a little difficult to sell.
Rosalie?
Just a couple comments. There were a lot of different themes in there. I could sort of see actually maybe a business story, looking at the trend and the whole millennial and how that's tied into this particular part of the country and culture, and then also, I guess, more tying it to the exploring the fake jewelry issue and how that's experienced here in New Mexico and how it affects the community. And then thirdly, I guess, in our Sunday magazine, Life in New Mexico, every week we have a different area that's featured. And so maybe, details about the tour, the cost, the length, where you would go, that type of thing.
Okay, so let's we gotta
Can we address one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, real quick. I'm going to change your ladies' minds, I promise, about the valuation. So I'm going to use an example of I don't have a favorite customer, but one of my close customers, she's a school teacher, and she moved to Southwest She moved to Santa Fe first, and now she lives kind of in the greater Gallup area. But she sets aside her coffee money, which is, I mean, what do you guys spend on coffee? $5 a week, $5 a day? I don't know. But she's able to see the valuation in in these pieces. And so my background is in finance and accounting, so I really love to talk about the valuation in this art. To make collectible quality art that's going to appreciate in value, you need to have a artist, you need to have the precious metals, be it silver or gold, and the turquoise, which is really, really increasing in value these days. So when someone is not sure about buying a piece, I always refer to her, and she said, you know, Emerald, I just had to break my first 100 and now I'm good. You know, so she has something tangible in her hand that reminds her of being in our area, but she skipped coffee for a month and was able to afford it. So that's how I would address it. And your money is sitting on your hand or on your floor. It's not going to decrease in value. If anything, it's going to go up. So that's how I would address that.
And the other,
So
those pieces are, yeah.
the better example is Erin Anderson's bracelet, and I'm not going to put a value on this one in particular, but to give you an idea, in a retail market space, a plain silver bracelet like that costs anywhere from $800 to $1,000. If it's smaller, as little as $200 to $300.
If you're buying direct from the artist right there on the tour,
It'll be much lower.
I would make a recommendation to really try, because Santa Fe is a big deal. And that whole experience about Santa Fe is a big deal. And I was in New York years ago at a spa, and all of their robes were 10,000 waves. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got these? Yes, because Santa Fe was such a big deal. I would try to market to LA and to New York and those kinds of places. I was walking in New York not too long ago and had an authentic turquoise necklace on, and I got stopped so many times. But I think it's going to be tough. I would reach out to a whole different market.
Okay, we got to keep things moving. Dean, do you have one thing?
Yeah, I just want to offer a point of clarification that may be helpful. You know, I'm a news guy, so everything that I'm listening to and everything that we're looking at, I think about, was that interesting to our audience as a news item, right? And if we do a story about something that we think is newsworthy and it happens to promote something, we're happy to that's fine as a byproduct. But we don't generally get involved in things that are purely promotional, right? So the takeaway, I hope, would be, I'd love for you to come back and say, hey, Dean, we have a story, and the headline is new tour, you know, millennials abandoning internet sales and jumping on tour. So if there's success there, that might be a story for us. I'm just saying down the line.
Okay.
And on the end of that. So, but I'm listening closely for, is this happening, or is this an inspirational, aspirational sort
no,
of
it's
thing?
happened.
Right?
It is happening.
How many people have you had on the tour?
Emerald, this is the second year you've been doing the tour?
We've been doing these tours for about 10 years.
10 years.
And so to answer your question, we've had as few as 12 people on the tour and as many as 35. The tour that we're doing this summer so far has 35 people.
So in a year, how many people?
We do one a year currently, an organized tour, but we're forever doing local tours in Northwest New Mexico.
And we continue to hear from our traders that this is happening. This is a trend that they're beginning to see, and it's a new customer base that's coming into their shops, and they're wanting to get to know the artisans. Again, feeding, we know there's demand for the tour.
Okay, so for us, the devil may be in the details. If it's a dozen people abandon online shopping to take tour, not interested. If it's, you know, 1,000 people have come through here this year. So keep us in mind if you get to a point where you think, wow, this is really something that needs to be talked about.
Okay.
As a news item.
Got it. So I'm getting the hard rap here from the vicious woman who runs this thing. So let's just kind of lay some of this out. You guys, Chris Ramirez has promised a package.
Yeah, we're a promoted package.
Yes.
And the reporter would be one of our female anchors.
Okay. And then we've got a variety of kind of possibilities with the print here as well. Can I give you a tip? Take it. What do you want to do? What do you guys think? Are you willing to take the story?
Sharks, thank you for your time, your attention, and your comments here today. It'll help us grow. It'll help us be better. We will take every offer.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks you guys. Okay, we're gonna keep things moving.
Thank you.
Sharks, let's keep things moving, okay, people? Okay, we are ready now with our next group. This is the North Central region. which includes Santa Fe, Los Alamos, and Taos. This region is home to New Mexico's Enchanted Circle, Santa Fe's Canyon Road, Taos Pueblo, and much more. And they'll have plenty more to say about that and a lot of details ahead. So let's go with the group from the North Central.
Hello, Sharks. I'm Cynthia Delgado.
And I'm Wendy Gelfound, and we're here to present the Fearless Female Frontier, Girls Getaways in Northern New Mexico.
Georgia O'Keeffe, Mabel Dodge Lujan, Frida Lawrence, Millicent Rogers, Agnes Martin, Natalie Curtis, Doña Tules. These are iconic women who represent the pioneering feminine spirit that started the women's movement in northern New Mexico. They came here for adventure into parts unknown and to play by their own rules. We were the frontier for 20,000 Harvey girls in the late 1800s and for artistic renegades in the 1900s. And today, for strong-spirited women who want to push their own boundaries and maybe yours.
Today, we know 1/3 of global travelers are looking for authentic experiences that are meaningful, and they are looking for a mind-body-spirit connection. This is a new segment called intentional travel.
80% of all travel decisions are made by women.
Women spend nearly $200 million a year on girlfriend getaways, and wellness travelers spend 160% more than the average traveler.
The average adventure traveler is a 47-year-old woman who, by the way, wears a dress size 12.
Statistics tell us that women have more resources than ever before, and they are using this power to enrich their lives and the lives of people around them. So we're here to excite, share, and inspire you to tell the story of women coming to North Central New Mexico to discover their own fearless female frontier.
Women today are pushing their own comfort zones and connecting with others on that journey.
We've compiled a rich menu of highly unique and engaging experiences for gal pals to discover in northern New Mexico, including everything from hiking yoga to llama trekking to spy tours and even an Eat, Pray, Love tour.
Help us spread the word. We have 3 unique experiences that are examples of this movement.
The secret's out. More and more women are discovering that fly fishing is a great way to get into the great outdoors. Taos Fly Shop offers a variety of trips specifically for the women angler, from a quick half-day trip on the Pecos to multi-day rafting, camping, and fishing trips on the Rio Grande. Exploring a day of fishing doesn't always mean catching a fish, but it always means catching a memory.
Or how about a New Mexico wine tour, feasting day cooking experience at Oquewingue Pueblo? Norma Naranjo invites guests into her cozy Pueblo home for a native cooking class that really features dishes prepared for Pueblo feasts. Guests get a true taste of native culture and traditional cooking methods using an authentic horno. Norma and her husband Hutch grow as many of their own ingredients as possible. Talk about a true farm-to-fork experience. Oh, by the way, did I mention there are 3 wine stops on this tour?
Need to connect with your dreams? Then try the handmade paper intention card art experience at Sunrise Springs. In this unique class, guests learn how to make their own handmade paper embellished with wildflower seeds and petals. And when the paper dries, they write their intentions on the cards. So when they're planted, the blooms help nourish their hopes and dreams.
As you can see, all these activities create a palette of personal experiences that we can put together in an itinerary that connects with the female traveler for a trip of a lifetime. What we provide in northern New Mexico is not just a vacation or a getaway, but an out-of-the-ordinary, meaningful, fun, and inspirational journey that becomes part of who you are. We are presenting a unique opportunity to each of you to join the global conversation with women.
Anytime women come together, it's a powerful thing. When women come together with collective intention, magic happens.
We challenge you to connect with your powerful female audiences by sharing what North Central New Mexico has to offer to the fearless female.
And what you're receiving now are samples of homemade bread, native bread, and samples of our seated intention cards. And you can see we have some really cool fly fishing gear and lots of other great things to explore on our table.
Thank you.
Okay. Very nice. Let's start with the ladies on the end. We'll move to the ladies in the middle, and maybe we'll get to these other two guys on the left. Go ahead.
I was smiling the whole time during your presentation because I was more so thinking, oh, I could do this with my sisters. Like, that is a perfect opportunity. But then I started thinking, I'm not here for me and my sisters, I'm here for my viewers. But even then, I still think that this could be something that attracts our viewers as our demographic being women, wanting to do a little getaway, maybe not everything all at once, but something, a wine tour or the flower thing.
The inspirational
The
notes.
handmade seated paper
Thank you,
class.
inspirational paper class, which I think is really cool. I think if I were to make a decision on it, it would apply more towards our lifestyle shows. So I could probably, I would put up an offer of our lifestyle host, who is a woman, or co-host who is a woman, maybe going and experiencing all these things, doing multiple packages, making it like kind of a series type of thing on our lifestyle
Sounds
show.
like a great idea.
Nice. Okay, Marissa?
I think it's fantastic just a couple of things to suggest in terms of the marketing. I can't help but look at your bag because it just sorry. I think if you just had that on in the stream when you're fishing and take a picture like that, it'd be awesome. No, I think that marketing, it's good stuff. Maybe pushing towards something like because Mother's Day is coming up. So not just this group of females, but this is something you could do with your mom, memories that you'd create for a lifetime. Because it could be for some women, we're only doing this one time with our mom, and we're getting our sisters together, or we're gonna invite our aunt. So I would think pushing not just, oh, get your friends. I would really push for a family experience with your mom and your daughter or your grandmother, or doing some of those things that are very enriching. That's really what I would look for as a mom myself. I think that's something I would push for.
Okay.
I love the presentation. The beauty content is very high in this presentation group. I love the way you sold it, but I am going to pass because I do not understand why this wouldn't be a guy getaway or a family getaway. I don't see how the experiences themselves are actually tailored to women. They're experiences anybody could have, but you're targeting a female market. So do you understand what I'm saying?
Sure. Thank you.
Lovely presentation. And I would say New Mexico Magazine has covered a lot of these stories and will continue to do so, but not as a women-specific issue. However, I would love to introduce you to our associate publisher, Edie Dillman, who would be happy to sell you a full-page ad promoting women's weekends in New Mexico.
By the way, she already has.
I'd also like to commend you on your presentation. I thought it was very enchanting. I do share the thing, that it would appeal to both men and women. I had immediately thought, have you thought about marketing to the lesbian market? Because that seems as though it would be a natural fit there.
They'd be women.
We do have a cooking page, and I really kind of like the idea of the native cooking class, and would like to find out how often that is offered. Anyway, that's all
It's
I can say.
regularly scheduled in their curriculum.
I also thought that your presentation was very nicely done, so kudos to you. One of the issues that we have in television is that we have such a limited, such a finite amount of time to tell a story. And so sometimes when a story is too broad, it's really difficult to boil it down into a 90-second or sometimes even a 60-second story. And that's the problem I'm having with your presentation. I'm having a really difficult time finding the story within the story. And maybe if we could talk offline and we could try to develop that a little bit better. But at this point, it's just a little bit too broad for me to find the hook. Okay.
Potentially summer getaways for women. You'll see on your handout, all of the activities we mentioned are there, so you can choose a couple to feature.
Thank you.
I would also say, from a news perspective, I think the discussion about the power of women spending and what they're spending their money on in terms of self-improvement, in terms of making decisions for the family, has an interesting news element.
Okay, Dean, do you want to add anything before we kind of wrap this up?
No, that was a great presentation. It sounds like a lot of amazing things to do, but I too am trying to figure out exactly what the news story would be in the specific. I see Harvey Girls and I think, wow, is there a Harvey Girl we should be interviewing? I mean, one of the original Harvey Girls that might be
We do have
an
one.
amazing feature.
We do have one.
That's a possibility. This paper fascinates me. I think that's a great, I'm not sure what to do with that in terms of, a news story. So I think I'm with a lot of people here thinking there's got to be, there are ideas, no doubt, in here that might make for interesting news content, which is different than feature content or promotional content, because there might be a place for that too, but just as a news guy, I think I have to work a little harder to find it within this. Thank you.
Okay, so what we have right now then is some possibilities with print, either, New Mexico Magazine, maybe some sort of feature, and then Rebecca's been nice enough to rope Carmelina Hart into doing stories up in the Taos area. Are you cool with that? Do you want to accept that? What do you think?
Sure, sounds great.
Okay, let's do it. We got it. You guys are good to go?